I'd like to gavel in our regularly scheduled meeting for March 18, 2013. If you'd all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Saunders.
Here.
Alderman Manister.
Here.
Alderman Leahy.
By the luck of the Irish, we're here.
Alderman Toohey.
Here.
Alderman Kramer.
Present.
Alderman Robertson. Alderman Nguyen.
Here.
Alderman Harper.
Okay, thank you. Next item, approval of the agenda for the March 18, 2013 board meeting. Anybody changes? Motion?
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you. And second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Let the record show that Alderman Robertson is now present. Next item, consideration approval of the minutes from the March 4th, 2013 meeting. Any changes?
The March 4th meeting.
Yes.
Special or regular?
Oh, special, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
First one. Any changes? Motion, please.
Motion to approve as submitted, Your Honor.
May I clarify which one we're doing the workshop meeting?
The special meeting, yes.
Special.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second, Your Honor.
Motion is made by Alderman Kramer, second by Alderman Leahy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, motion to approve the minutes from the regular Board of Alderman meeting, March 4th, 2013. Any changes?
Motion to approve the minutes of the meeting as submitted.
And second?
Second, Your Honor.
Motion is made by Alderman Leahy, second by Alderman Robertson to approve the minutes as submitted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item, item 5, presentations and recognition. We have one proclamation this evening for Arbor Day, and I've asked Alderman Kramer if you could please read our proclamation.
Yes, sir. For the City of Brentwood and the State of Missouri, the proclamation in recognition of the Arbor Day Proclamation. Whereas in 1972, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of our business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they're planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas the City of Brentwood has been recognized as Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation and desires to continue its tree planting practices. Now therefore I, Mayor Pat Kelly, do hereby proclaim April 19th, 2013 as Arbor Day in the City of Brentwood, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Presented the 18th day of March, 2013.
Thank you. We do this as part of our Tree City USA efforts every year, and it's a requirement in order to maintain that recognition. So if I could have a motion to approve the proclamation for Arbor Day 2013.
So moved.
And second?
Second, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Let the record show that Alderman Harper is here as well. Thank you. Next item, public hearing. There are none this evening. Item 7, bids, Hanley Industrial Court Transit Pedestrian Improvement Project.
Yes, Your Mayor. The city requested sealed bids for the Hanley Industrial Court Pedestrian Transit Project, which includes sidewalks, ADA ramps, retaining walls, and landscaping. We received a total of 11 bids for the construction of this project. The low bid was $167,346.65, submitted by Ranieri Construction. They have passed all the necessary pre-contract requirements, and our approved MoDOT contractor are on their pre-qualified contract list.
Thank you. Any questions? Has that been reviewed by Public Works already?
Yes,
Yes,
it
and we have
was
an
last
ordinance
week.
on this evening.
Right.
So any questions? We can do that at the ordinance. Okay, thank you. Next item, hearing of any matter of public interest upon persons present. If anybody would like to address the board, please come forward and give us your name and address.
My name is Rick Peters. I live at 9007 Lawn Avenue. I've been a member of this community for 70 years. I have two things that I would like to talk about tonight. One of them is very simple. On your bill number 5739 that is supposed to be approved tonight, it mentions 2012 Brentwood days in the heading. I believe that should be 2013.
I believe so.
The other thing I wanted to discuss was last Tuesday night I went to a meeting of an alderman, and Wednesday I went to the Public Works, I believe, meeting, and they were discussing this questionnaire that is coming out to be given to select residents on April 1st through April 15th by telephone. When I brought up some questions at that meeting, the gentleman who was in charge of this particular function was very upset that this brochure had been let out. He says that normally you get a better response from people when they don't know what you're talking about. I happened to look up on the internet a well-known survey company that says KISS, keep it short and simple. When I obtained a copy of this survey, I asked my wife to participate in it. And I read her the questions and told her to answer however she wants to, but just use one of the answers. Don't ask me what that's about. And it took over 20 minutes for me to read this particular survey and get her answers, whereas it is noted in several places that the survey should take 10 to 12 minutes to complete. I believe this survey is way too long, and I believe several questions need to be taken out, and several questions need to be amended. That is my opinion. You people can figure out whatever you want to do on that. The third thing that I came across was in getting this particular survey, there was an indication that question 33 states, Brentwood partners with Richmond Heights and Maplewood to allow Brentwood residents, I'm sorry, before I go through this, is this all right to discuss in this open meeting?
I guess you already have the information, so.
Mayor, the consultant would prefer that these questions not be read publicly.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't mention any names, that's why I was. But it states that Brentwood partners with Richmond Heights and Maplewood to allow Brentwood residents to use their recreation facilities. Brentwood pays these cities approximately $60,000 a year to get resident rates for Brentwood residents. I don't know if that is correct. If it's not correct, that should be taken out of this survey. If it is correct, why does the city of Brentwood feel it's necessary to spend $60,000 or $120,000 to two neighboring communities to help run their departments more efficiently when the money could be better spent for all of the residents of Brentwood by maybe hiring or working towards hiring an additional police officer or something better in the street departments or something that will benefit this city and not other cities. I had no idea that Brentwood was doing this. In the past, I don't know when this started up, but in the past, I served on the park board. And I served as president of the park board. It was never brought up to any member of the park board that we were doing this, if we were doing it at that time. If we have since begun to do it, I believe it needs to be stopped. If the people want to use Richmond Heights, let them pay for it. If we want to increase or do something with the city of Brentwood, that money could help. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to introduction, reading, and passage of bills. If I could have a motion for the, I'll address that just real quick. I think that's one of the reasons for the survey is to get the input from the residents. I think that was what the desire of the alderman that supported that initiative. We did hire a professional firm to help us with the survey, with their expertise on putting the questions together, the amount of time it's going to take for them as professionals to go through and read those on the to the people that are randomly chosen to participate in this survey throughout the community. I would like to dispel one rumor that's been going around. I believe that I know there will be more than 50 participants. I am not personally choosing the participants either. That's been published in one of our online papers. We hope to get some good returns and some good input from the residents with this survey. We will move on to introduction, reading, passage of bills. If I could have a motion for the first and second readings of bills 5737, 5738, 5739, 5740, 5741, 5742, and 5743. It's for first and second reading only.
So moved, Your Honor.
And second? Motion is made by Alderman Leahy, second by Alderman Nguyen. For the first and second readings, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. First reading of bill number 5737, please.
First reading, bill number 5737 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri adopting the revised City of Brentwood Employees Handbook, providing for the current maintenance of this code, providing for the effective date of this ordinance, and providing for the repeal of all conflicting ordinances.
Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Bill 5737 is one that entertains the topic of the Brentwood Employee Handbook. Includes wording for an ordinance that adopts the revised City of Brentwood Employees Handbook. Proposed employee handbook attached for those who picked up their paperwork out in front of the meeting location here. Presented for board approval. Purpose of the updated and revised employee handbook was and is twofold. One, to align the city's personnel policies and procedures with sound management principles. And two, to ensure the City of Brentwood as an employer is limiting its exposure to risk amidst an ever-increasing legal and regulatory landscape.
Okay. Any questions? Alderman Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make follow up on the discussion that we had at the workshop meeting. We have on page 43 of the document, the revised handbook that we're asking to approve this evening. In section 4.23, solicitations and distributions. This is things that we are authorizing the employees to participate in as an acceptable activity within the city. Solicitations and/or donations for the annual golf tournament and selected charities are approved by the mayor and the Board of Aldermen. As I raised in the work session, I would like to add to that sentence the multiple MS firefighters boot drive that we do each year, and also the National Night Out Against Crime solicitations that we do with the businesses in order to support the National Night Out Against Crime. I'd like to put it in the handbook as a listed activity versus each year having to go to the Board of Aldermen asking for permission for these two activities to be given permission by the city to participate in.
I don't see any problem. Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
And second?
I'll second.
Yeah. Those are two events that we do participate in every year.
Yeah.
So,
So if I can add those to that section.
okay.
I'm
And-
thinking that we should, I'm sorry. I didn't-
Go ahead.
I
It's
apologize.
open for comment. This one.
You know, we wait like with the golf tournament year to year, whether we're going to have it or we're not going to have it. And I'm not certain that this should even be in the employee manual, that we should do it on a case-by-case basis. For instance, we've decided this year that we're not going to do the golf tournament. And again, too, then we would evaluate the merits of using, you know, city staff time to make solicitation calls. But I think that should be event by event, personally.
Well, again, I think the ones that are in there are things that we have traditionally done yearly, and it just make it simpler than having to have a resolution or approval every year. If we decided not to do them, we can always say no or not do them. You know,
We could also add the words "if held."
yeah.
I mean, it has to be approved by the mayor or the board, so it just doesn't seem to be something that would have to be in the employee manual. Do you understand what I mean? They can't work on those activities unless we give the authorization. So why pick out golf tournament and then city selected charities? I mean, it all comes from us.
Whichever you want. I mean, yeah. I just think it's because those are annual events that the city has historically done in the past. So at some point, if you want to take one or the other or any of them out, take them out. But
Well,
I
we've
think
had
it's just
2
trying
years
to
in a
streamline
row.
the process.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes.
By leaving the golf tournament as a, again, approved activity, if we, in the budget arrangement, add it into the budget and authorize it, you don't have to catch that where was your approval that allowed the activity to proceed. It's already listed in the handbook that staff can be working on this in order to make it an activity. If we, in the budget process, decide that we're not going to host the event that year, then by rights, nobody does any activity to make it go forward. What I don't want to do is have somebody come up later and say, by the way, you held these events, but you never got any approvals to authorize any of this to do, and thus you had staff doing things that your own handbook said you shouldn't be doing. I'm trying to make sure that we don't trip over ourselves.
I agree.
Your Honor.
Alderman Kramer.
If we add the, as a suggestion, if we add the two words "if held," that would allow the toggle to work going forward.
That'd be fine.
I have no objection to that.
Okay. We'll add that.
I will amend my motion to incorporate that for all 3 of the events, if held.
And the second? Who made the second on
I'll amend my
that? Second? Okay.
second, I guess,
Okay.
or second the amendment.
Okay, second reading, please.
We
Oh,
have
I'm sorry.
to Vote on the...
You're right. Roll call on the changes.
Just on this change.
Yes,
Yeah.
just on this one.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Toohey.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Second issue, if I may proceed, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. I raised also at the city work session, the last one that we had, we have a definition on page 12 of the new handbook that a full-time employee is defined as someone who works 1,500 hours or more, works out to about 28.5 hours per week. In the work session, it was clarified that that definition is because of the loggers' policies as to what they determine as a full-time employee. You have a number of activities in the book that make available to full-time employees I would like the city to clarify, are we using that 1,500 hours as a city definition then also as full up as employees? Or are we looking at still a 40-hour work week to make our employees full-time? I'd like that clarification.
You're talking about with respect to the other benefits?
Yes.
Right.
37.5 to 40 hours is what the city uses for full-time employees. This definition is required per loggers.
Understand, but your definition that you just gave at 37.5 hours is not defined in the handbook that I noted. Thus, and I'm not opposed to what you're suggesting as the thing, but nowhere in this handbook does it require an employee to be at 37 and a half. It only requires them to be at 1,500 hours for the year, which is 28.5. And I find that rather low. That's why I'm asking for the clarification.
Do we have that stated someplace else besides the employee handbook? Is that,
I don't believe so, Julie. We do
Julie,
not.
It's not?
The
Okay.
easy solution would be to put in another definition and state that specifically, and then make a distinction that this pertains to loggers. Would that be all right?
I would love to have that amendment to the handbook on page 12.
That works.
Can I
That the-
ask a question?
As soon as I get it on.
Oh, okay, I just want to
So-
make sure on that topic is
Yeah.
what I want, okay.
On page 12 for the definition of full-time, that the 1,500 hours or more is the logger's definition, and that 37 and a half hours
To 40.
To 40.
to 40 is the city's definition for full-time for other benefits.
Right.
For all
Okay.
other computations.
Yeah.
Alderman Saunders.
Can I ask, why does loggers need a different definition? Like if full-time in their policy is 28 and a half hours, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to define our full-time employees. If you work 28 and a half hours, you qualify.
Why does loggers have that definition?
Uh-huh.
That's a question for loggers.
I just think it comes down to
It's
it
their-
puts
whatever
more
they say.
participants into their plan.
Okay, but that's their definition, correct?
But in order for us to participate, those are the guidelines that we have to go by.
That's
Right.
what's in our ordinance as well when we join loggers.
Right.
And because it's roughly 30 hours a week, typically cities have said, if we've got somebody who's working 30 hours a week and is racking up
Yeah.
1,500 hours a year, they're going to be eligible for loggers, so we're going to consider them full-time.
Well, like how do we qualify? I mean, the alderman, I'm not participating.
That's
but-
a separate qualification. Anybody who's an elected official also qualifies, but there's not an hourly.
Okay,
limit.
so logger says they have to work 28 and a half hours?
Well, it's the 1,500 hour is the
Over
threshold.
the year.
Oh,
Over
it's
the
the
year.
1,500
Yeah. So they
hours.
could work 6 months and 1,500 hours and
Okay,
qualify.
so that's their qualification,
Mhm,
right? So why do we need to have, I mean, isn't it a trigger, if you work over 1,500, you're in it? So why do
Yes.
we need to define in our employee book loggers? Do you see what I mean? It's their,
It is a benefit
It's one
that
of the-
full-time employees partake
It's a
in.
retirement benefit for the employees.
Good for us to have both, though.
okay.
Okay?
So now,
Last-
are we going to put in the hours at what we require? You said 37 and a half to 40 hours a week, Bola?
That's the
for,
motion.
right.
Okay.
For all other city computations.
For all other city qualified benefits.
The motion's made. I do not.
I think
know-
we did have a second.
Okay.
Yes. Did we have a second?
Before we vote on that,
Okay.
Julie just reminded me of a conversation we had at the last workshop where it was noted that we have about 3 employees in the Parks and Rec Department
Yes.
that are considered full-time employees who work 32 hours a week.
Yes.
So we would need to include in this definition language so that they're covered as well.
So are they receiving benefits?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we did, actually, that's true. We did talk about that
Okay.
because we were saying we didn't want to leave anybody out. And that most cities, the full-time calculation was done at 32 hours.
I will amend the motion for those 3.
Yeah, let's do this. Do you want to take back your second?
What is that, me? Okay, yes.
Or whoever, yeah, somebody, I think it was.
It's been a while, I don't
Take back your
remember.
first and start
Take back
over.
the first.
All right,
All
let's
right.
just start over.
Raise a motion that on page 12 of the handbook, and it's in section 2.1, that the full-time employee be defined for the logger's purpose at 1,500 hours per year, and that the city defines a full-time employee at 37 and a half to 40 hours per, whatever the multiplication is for the year.
No, 32.
Wait a minute, with the extra stipulation of the 3 specific Parks Department
No.
positions.
Can't do it
I
that way.
don't
You
think we
can
want to be that
grandfather them in,
specific.
though, so that no.
Well, again,
you
I-
can't.
Why, can we, let's start with this. Can we define what those 3 positions are, and why are they only working 32 hours versus 40?
Well, I think let's just look at,
Yeah.
do we want to extend that benefit to employees that are working on a regular basis 32 hours a month? Or a week, I'm sorry. And, I mean, it really shouldn't go down to who it is and what position they have. It's whether we want to extend that benefit to any employee working that number of hours. So, and I think what we said at the workshop meeting was that's, Julian, please correct me if I'm wrong, but that is kind of the level of most, actually even in the private world, that over 32 hours is considered a full-time employee and they receive those benefits. So
That
I would recommend leaving it at 32 hours.
I was
Can I
back to
ask-
our conversation at the workshop. This really isn't a concern if the city is scheduling their employees 1,700, 1,800 hours a year. So right now, 1,500 hours does equal out to 28 hours a week. However, based upon our knowledge, no employees being scheduled, only 28 hours. So really, this definition doesn't really need to be changed unless a specific instance is identified by the city where they have to go back and say, we need to schedule this employee more. And really, that comes down to staff and making sure that staff schedules their employees more than 28 hours per week. So really, again, this gives you more flexibility by saying 1,500 hours than saying 32, because you really don't know each individual.
Well, but they wanted a clarification of things. They wanted a logger clarification in the 32. But I think that was a discussion, you were right, at the last meeting, that it, right. Alderman Saunders?
Yes. In response to what you just said, Attorney Hay, if you don't clarify, I mean, a lot of the policies that you enter into are saying full-time employees receive this. So if we have it as 1,500 hours and they only work that much, and then they qualify. Do you know what I mean? So it is an important, definition, one way or the other. Bola, what I want to know is, where does the definition full-time 37 and a half, 40 hours, where did that come into play? You seem to have that ready. Where did that definition, you said that's the definition we have. Where do we have that?
It's not so much a definition, it's the hours worked by our employees here.
But at the last meeting, we did discuss it. It is 32 hours is what we had talked about. So the point is, you could leave it, again, you could either clarify the 28 and a half.
20, yeah.
As loggers, and then the 32 hours for the to be considered as full-time employee for qualified benefits as a full-time employee.
Is there anything by law, you know what I mean, like with Obamacare, and that, which stipulates labor law or whatever, that what is a full-time employee, when you have to offer benefits? Is there like a
You can
trigger?
offer benefits to any employee.
But I mean, at a certain point, if you're working a certain amount of hours, you don't have to offer them?
You don't have to offer benefits to 40-hour employees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing you have to do at 40 hours, if they work more than that, you have to pay them time and a half.
Your Honor, if I may.
Alderman Lay.
I would like to make the motion, and I will reduce the hours to 32 and a half hours a week to
To be-
define as a city full-time employee.
32.
32 hours or more.
Or more.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Pass.
Alderwoman Manister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'll do, yes.
Amendment.
Alderman Salt.
One last issue, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'd like to thank the staff. I know they put an awful lot of time into pulling this whole employee manual together. And I know that at times it was very long and drawn out. So I thank them for their time and their sincere effort at making this possible.
Absolutely.
Second reading, please.
I
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. On page 10, 1.3 changes in policies. And at the end there, that last sentence reads, "No entity or individual other than the city administrator acting under the authority of the mayor and board of aldermen is authorized to modify the employee handbook or enter into any agreement, oral or written, contrary to the policies and procedures contained herein." Well, I mean, I don't think we should, whole reason we've reviewed this book and we're adopting as a board of aldermen is because we set the policies. And I don't think that we should say that the city administrator is authorized to change this book.
It says the city administrator cannot do it without the authorization of the mayor and the board of aldermen.
We went on this, we had this discussion at that last workshop, or actually the one prior at the thing, is acting under the authority of the board of aldermen already gives her the authority.
No, I don't think that's what that's saying. I think
Well, we
that's
took
saying
it
she
out in
can't-
the other ones. We didn't want to say acting, we didn't want to say that we were giving, because it says acting under the authority. Does this give, legally, Attorney Hay, what does this, or Attorney Albrecht?
It's simply the city administrator would make the changes to the handbook upon the authority of the board and the mayor.
Right.
So if you voted to say we want to change section 1.2, we authorize the city administrator to make that change.
Not that she can do it, not that the city administrator can do it on their own.
Okay, are we, and that's legally, we won't get into any trouble with that? I mean, she can't, acting upon, that means it has to come to us for a vote?
Yes.
Just like it is now.
Okay, and then also on that page, introduction 1, unless an exception or special provision is approved by the city clerk administrator, this handbook will supersede departmental policy. Why would the city administrator make an exception or special provision?
What section?
Um,
I'm sorry, what section are you reading from?
The same page on 1, the introduction and overview, the last sentence.
Final sentence number 1.
I think then we should put that, acting upon the mayor and board of aldermen, acting under the authority. But that doesn't grant, that legally doesn't grant her the authority without an individual vote. Okay.
well,
It doesn't transfer, is all I'm saying. It doesn't transfer authority.
No.
Okay. Okay, so can we add that to the same, this bottom sentence, unless an exception or special is approved by the city clerk administrator?
Acting under
I'm
the
sorry,
authority?
I don't understand your question.
what would be an exception that, let's say, would be in a policy manual within a department that the city administrator might grant an exception to?
For instance, already in the police and fire department manual, they have, both chiefs have agreed that they will develop a policy regarding the use of phones in city vehicles. That
And we
would be an
agreed.
exception.
And the board, we agreed to that.
Right.
And I think we should continue to make those decisions. So I just move that we add, acting under the authority of the mayor and board of aldermen.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Second?
that's consistent.
Yeah.
Your Honor,
Alderman Kramer?
just to perhaps even further satisfy Alderwoman Saunders, would you be happier with the word "only" under the authority?
Yes, I would.
I thought you
mean,
might.
assuming that legally that's conveying what I want,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Thank you.
Is that okay? Guess all right.
Should be.
Okay.
So I'll amend my motion so that in number 1, the introduction and overview, the last sentence, after city clerk administrator, we add only under the authority of the mayor and board of aldermen. And section 1.3, the last sentence, after administrator, comma, we change acting to only.
I would actually recommend that you say acting only under the authority.
Okay. So modified, can I say?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call?
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let me,
Second reading.
oh, no, I have some more. I'm
I
sorry, I didn't
apologize.
get, I'm sorry. This is the first time we've gone through as a board. Remember, we didn't vote on anything. We kind of consensus, we couldn't. So we had the policy
gone through it several
for,
times.
I thought you. Okay, page 23, if an employee has knowledge of theft, vandalism, unauthorized personal use of city equipment or property, it is that employee's responsibility to report the violation to their supervisor or department head.
This is at the top. Alderman Saunders.
Right, I'm sorry, at their department head. And, you know, I guess, are we instituting the hotline too? I was going to think that they could call. No, we're not going to institute the hotline.
Well, even if we did, that doesn't have to be part of the manual, but right.
Okay, and then the other page was page 16.
16?
Sorry to go back.
All right.
In the bottom in sum, where we're saying the mayor and board of aldermen cannot appoint or hire a full-time employee or part-time employee. And those instances, should we say that a relative within the fourth degree of that word, constant, I can never say it, can't be hired by the city while elected officials in office?
Can I ask for
I
a
think we're
clarification?
taking that wording right out of the
Yes.
state statutes.
That's a model language, and it's defined earlier in that section.
Right.
Okay, so, but I mean, what I'm saying is that a relative of mine can't be hired at the city while I'm on this board. Is that correct? Regardless of whether I'm involved in it or not?
No, that's
No,
not correct.
Not
no,
true.
you would have to abstain from such a vote.
Okay, but what I'm saying is we're trying to take politics out of that. Is it a good policy to have employees, like for instance, a relative of mine not employed while I'm on the board?
No, it would not be good policy. But in some circumstances, and especially in Missouri with small towns, sometimes you're left with no choice but to hire a relative because they're the only qualified person. But in this statute, again, we give you room to maneuver. I mean, this is just it's a map, it's a guideline. You're going to have to make individual choices when it comes to these parts for discussion. But we want to give you the greatest elbow room to operate as a city and not tie your hands, because we can't anticipate every situation that may occur.
Okay, well, I know we were trying with the political activity and that, so I thought that kind of removed, do you know what I mean? Because if I really felt it was important, I could resign, or it kind of gives that appearance of that we're trying to achieve, even the appearance of no conflict, regardless of whether there is or isn't. So I thought maybe that strengthened that. Does anyone agree?
If you read on page 16 and come up to the middle of the page, no relative of the elected officials or any employee of the city shall be appointed, hired, or otherwise employed by or contracted with the city of Brentwood other than part-time or seasonal employees of the Park and Recreation and/or the Public Works Department. There's your limitation.
That's right.
So if you had a 16-year-old kid that wanted to
Okay.
be a skate guard at the ice
Okay.
rink, they could
Okay,
still do
I'm
that.
sorry.
Still be a skate guard. And-
So that is, though, exactly what
wouldn't
I'm
be hiring
saying, that
them
they
to
can't
do it.
even be hired with me on the board.
Yeah.
A full-time employee can't
What
even
is
be
the
hired.
reason for forbidding a relative being an employee? Why can't another relative of an employee be an employee as well? They could both be in some function of the city. I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, there's no theoretical problem with that.
Well, again, I think that goes to the appearance of influence of hiring somebody for that position. But,
I
Brian?
mean, the purpose was so you don't put a close relative in a $70,000 paying position.
Right.
So that's the intention.
Right.
Well, and I just think for, like you said, appearances even, that it's better. Do you know what I mean? If you know that somebody wants to work here, that maybe you don't run again, or do you know if you have a family member interested?
We haven't come across that since I've been here, but that's
Okay.
fine, so.
And then page 14, I just was wondering why in political activities we didn't have the contribution part. I know we mention it later in the policy, but before we had that all together, I thought, I could be wrong, about we said no contributions, no political contributions. Excuse me, it talks about the activity, but it doesn't talk about the contributions.
Okay. You mean actively campaigning?
Well, right, we had that in there, but then we don't have the stipulation that we made that no employee can make a contribution.
That's in another part.
Yeah, that's covered.
Right.
Okay.
It's just the way we formatted the handbook.
It's just the way you formatted, so political, because, I mean, they say, you know, no employee shall solicit, sell, or handle political contributions. So you don't think it's appropriate to have that they can't make them in that same section?
Well, if the employee reads the handbook, the employee will realize what his or her limitations are with respect to political activities and contributing to potential elected officials.
Okay. I just don't know why we separated it. Right, it's standards of conduct, so it's later put on page 26. But I think it would be more also appropriate, since we have it there, it would also be appropriate because it specifically speaks to political activities to have it under there too. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, and it's in several locations, is note if your complaint is with the city clerk administrator, you should file the conduct complaint with the mayor's office. Page 29, and it's the second, it's
Second sentence.
second paragraph,
Paragraph,
right, it's the note that says, I mean, I feel like perhaps maybe we should, the complaint should be filed with the city attorney, and the city attorney should notify the entire board, the mayor and board at the same time. I mean, I would be fine with it being filed with the police, but we seem to, maybe that's too intimidating. So if it's just a complaint, I would say if it's filed with the city attorney, and then the city attorney would notify the mayor and board.
Well, I would, if somebody's doing their job properly and a complaint is given to the mayor, and there's grounds for that complaint, then it's the mayor's responsibility and obligation to report that to the Board of Aldermen. You know, to me, that just, if the mayor wasn't doing that, he would then not only be putting his own self at risk, it would be putting the city at risk as well.
I just think the timing and the notice is important, so I think by having the city administrator do it, we're all notified at the same time.
Whatever you do,
So I will make the motion that if your complaint is with the city clerk administrator, you should file the conduct complaint form with the city attorney, and the city attorney will notify the mayor and board.
Can we get the advice of our
I'll second that.
attorney then?
Okay, wait a first and second. Brian?
I mean, I'll just have quick comment. Do employees know where the city's attorney's office is located? It's mayor's office, and I don't know how the system works here, but I think employees can easily access the mayor versus the city attorney. So that's where my concern, if I was the employee, I would feel more comfortable going next door to where I know where the office is than driving to an attorney's office to file a complaint. Not
I-
that it matters to me one way or the other, but that's just a practical concern that I have.
I think we should put city attorney's mailbox, because we all have mailboxes, and the mayor isn't here all the time.
You wanna make
Well,
sure it
has
gets
to
there.
be-
I would say that because then you would have the allegation, I put it in your mailbox, why didn't you do anything?
Thing with it,
Then
yeah.
you get into this he said, she said type of ordeal. But again, I don't know how the city works, but I think more employees would be comfortable going to the mayor's office than a city attorney. I know I would if I was an employee.
Okay, we have a first and second. Roll call.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
No.
Alderman Tui.
No.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
No.
Alderman Nguyen.
No.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
No.
Mayor.
So is it no?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Then can I make a motion that at least then we say that the mayor has to immediately notify the board? Because it's the same thing. You could have the same he said, she said incident where the employee said, I told the mayor, and the mayor said, you never told me or didn't give it to me. That's the same instance that could happen with the city attorney.
Do you just want to add the sentence, the mayor will immediately notify the board of
Yeah,
all
that's
complaints
fine.
filed?
Yes, that's all I want to add.
That's what they need to do anyway.
Right.
Forgive me if I may. If you do that, are you not injecting the board back into personnel matters that have yet to be
But that's an
Recent-
appointed position.
But the city administrator reports
Right.
to the board,
Right.
not the mayor.
Understand, but right now, if someone in the staff complains, they take it to the city administrator. The city administrator evaluates and works through the complaint. She keeps us posted if there are things that have to be brought to our attention. You're bringing it that a complaint, maybe in this case against the city administrator, goes straight to the mayor. The mayor must immediately notify the board, and yet there's been no
I'm-
investigation or
But,
discovery or
well,
anything.
you're
Maybe
just
I'm
notifying
only-
the board that,
But you're
that
bringing us into, you're
No.
involving us
you're not taking
too
any
early.
action, you're not taking any action. It is a appointed position.
Notification.
Okay.
And, at that point, you're just giving notification that there's been a complaint made. Then there'd be a process for determining whether it's credible or not. That would be the
And we
normal
should be
process
involved in
anyway.
that.
Here's the typical scenario with this.
Please.
If an employee was being sexually harassed by the city administrator and that employee felt uncomfortable reporting to the department supervisor or the city administrator, because that's the one doing the harassing, the employee would then file the complaint with the mayor informs the board, and then as a board, you have to make the decision, how are we going to investigate this? Because the city administrator is at the heart of the
matter.
allegations.
Okay.
So will we hire an outside firm to do it? Will we get HR to do it? That's the decision the city
At
would have
that
to
level, it would have to be the decision of the board.
make. But you're not making the decision. You're not going to conduct the investigation.
All right.
But I mean, to take action, it would have to be the decision of the board, right? Okay. So we had a first, do you want to add that?
I
Make a
want to add
motion?
that, thank you.
Make a motion?
And thank you.
And second?
But can I say, it's also repeated on page
Wait.
30 and page 31, just so that we're consistent, so we don't have to go through each of those.
That's fine. Is that
Wherever
correct?
that statement appears in the handbook.
Right, on page 30, it does again with the note, and it appears on page 31 with the note. So
Okay.
we're amending it with
I'll
mayor
second that,
office
Carl.
immediately notify the board.
Motion is made by Alderman Saunders, second by Alderman Kramer. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and then on page 41 regarding gifts, I know this is an employee manual. Every once in a while, we're mentioned in it. Is our receipt of gifts and that, is that taken care of in the code, Bola?
Well, I believe it's probably taking care of the code and
State
under.
statutes.
Okay, I just didn't.
State statute.
I assumed, but I didn't, get to go back and look, so, thank you. And then again, on page 44, if your complaint is with the city clerk, you should file the grievance form with the mayor's office. Immediately notify the board.
Your Honor,
Yes. Alderman Kramer?
if Alderwoman Saunders could just restate her motion to wherever that statement appears in the handbook, that it shall be restated as you previously mentioned.
I think that's what you said.
She didn't say it, though. I
Okay.
did. She didn't say
I
it.
revised my motion, so
Thank you.
wherever it is stated.
We got to make another one because we already voted.
And then,
Do you want to make a motion?
oh, I have to make another motion, I'm sorry. I move that we amend
I
the
thought she
motion
said
so-
anywhere where it appears, and
Well,
that
Tom
covers
said
the
it, but she
entire
didn't.
document.
The motion maker did not.
Oh,
Okay, so I make the motion that wherever it says, I don't remember the wording now because I've moved on to something else.
Page 44. No, the
Form
mayor's
with the
office.
mayor's office, and the mayor will immediately notify the Board of Aldermen. Wherever it's noted in the employee manual. Thank you.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, thank you.
Anything else?
Just one? I think more. Oh, and then page 72, the personal holiday on there. Just like in this past where we had to, we voted to give them like the day after Christmas as a personal holiday. Typically in the holidays, that holiday is like approved, that personal holiday is in each individual. It's not a vacation day, otherwise it'd be vacation. It's the extra holiday that the employees as a whole want to vote, like it'd be nice to have the day after, St. Patrick's Day or whatever off based on the way the holidays fall. And typically that's how, when it's in this holiday section, that's how personal holidays are treated. You know what I mean? It's an extra holiday that the employees as a whole want to throw in because of timing with other holidays. Does that make sense? Or
Well, we have a list of holidays that we are scheduled off, and every once in a while, the board has voted to grant, if it fell in, on a 3-day weekend or whatever the circumstances may be, the board has voted to grant, well, Christmas and New Year's is a good one, when I think we voted to close earlier, even close on because it was on a Friday or whatever. But then that would come back to the board for a vote. I don't.
right, but that way in the budget, the personal holiday's already approved. Do you see what I mean? We did budget it because that personal holiday is taken at the same time for everyone. It's a day that the employees in general.
Personal holiday is when they can take it whenever they want.
Okay, well, that's just a vacation day then. I just was saying that that's typically what a person, when you have it under holidays, in businesses, that's what I've seen as a.
I'm not
when
sure
we
I
decide.
understand what's being said.
There's a difference between vacation days and, some organizations don't have sick days. They call them
PTO.
personal time. And some have vacation, sick days, and they may have a floating holiday. So
Wouldn't a difference be that if someone resigned, you pay them their accrued vacation time, but you wouldn't pay them for a floating holiday? Isn't that a big part of this? That the reason to define them differently?
Okay, that's
They
fine.
wouldn't
It wasn't a
pay for
big thing, I
holidays,
just,
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
you
how
wouldn't
I've
get
seen it
paid
in
for
the
a
past.
holidays.
yeah.
Right. So if you keep it as a holiday, if they
Right.
resign, you don't have to pay them.
okay. And then on page 75, the employees hired before April 1st, when we were talking about the sick pay and that. During the meetings, Julie, you stated that you were having the employees, back at the time when we first started looking at this, they were signing a letter saying that they weren't going to get the accrued. Is Julie still here?
Yeah, all the employees that were hired since, I think, November or so of November of 2011. But with the adoption of this, it would change to April 1st of
They were
2013.
grandfather them in.
Right.
Oh, so we do want to grandfather them in, even though we've had them sign a letter?
That was the
Well,
conversation at the
The reason
workshop.
we haven't signed letters because we weren't sure of when the book would be approved and whether the board was going to extend it to the existing employees or reverse it or
I don't remember
not extend it to the incoming employees. So
Yeah, this started in 2011, before you came on the board.
Right. No, I knew that. And I knew when we had the discussion, though, at Ways and Means, it was that they're signing the letter so they know that they're not getting it. Did you know, Alderman Kramer, that then that would be taken back away by this policy?
Alderman Saunders, I hear your concern. I personally think that in this instance, as the recommendation has been brought forward, to make the new date April 1st and grandfather those employees that were in that limbo
They're already-
area,
Right.
that they, legally, it's probably better for us to give it to them.
Okay. And then one last thing, and it's on page 88, and it's the fraud policy. And again, with fraudulent activity, they should notify the mayor or city attorney. And that one, it's a little bit different. I again would entertain that they should notify the police when it's fraudulent activity. It's not just a complaint.
Well, I think, again, we went over that. You want to make sure that it is fraudulent, and by reporting it to the police, you make it a criminal, or make it an investigation right away, right, Brian?
Well, there's nothing to prohibit an employee
Right.
from filing a criminal charge with the police. All we're stating is, as an employee, as a
Policy.
civil matter, if you think
Right.
a fraud's occurring, report it up the proper channels like you
Right.
should. But if an employee wants to file a charge with the police, city's not in a position to say you can't
Right.
do that.
Okay, and then if we could just add on that one, immediately notify the Board of Aldermen, please.
Okay. I think that's what we said. Right.
Well, just this one says or city attorney. The other ones didn't say or city attorney.
I'll second that motion, Your Honor.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Just to add that phrase.
Oh, aye. Sorry. I was
Sorry.
still thinking.
All right. All opposed? Thank you. That it has to be reported right away. Okay. Alderman Harper?
I just have one question, and I apologize if you guys have already covered it. On page 77, 7.4, the perfect attendance incident, we can still,
We'll be making an adjustment to that.
okay,
All right. How's that?
thank you.
So, all right. Second reading?
Second reading, Bill Number 5737 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri adopting the revised City of Brentwood Employees Handbook, providing for the current maintenance of this code, providing for the effective date of this ordinance, and providing for the repeal of all conflicting ordinances.
Okay. You have a motion, please?
Your Honor, I'll make the motion to perfect Bill 5737 as amended into ordinance form.
Thank you. And motion is made by Alderman Leahy, second by Alderman Nguyen. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Toohey.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Bill number 5737 is now ordinance number 4412.
Okay.
Thank you.
First reading of Bill number 5738.
First reading, Bill Number 5738 by title only, an ordinance providing for a boundary adjustment between the cities of Brentwood and Rock Hill.
Okay. Actually, instead of synopsis, I think I'll just try to explain this real quickly. It'll be a little bit shorter. Basically, the property owned by Millman Lumber, which is in Rock Hill down on Manchester Road, their backyard backs up to Brentwood Park. There's a little triangle of property owned by them within their lot that is cut off and is actually in the city of Brentwood. The owners of the property asked if we could make a boundary adjustment so that that now little corner of property is included in the city of Rock Hill. Just it makes it easier for permitting and all those kinds of things for them. I don't even think it's bigger than half the size of this room. So that's what this is about. So if that makes it simple.
Very.
So okay.
Your
This
Honor,
was
I'd
a
like-
request of the property owner.
I'd like to move for adoption.
Oh, wait,
Or
need
we
a
have
second reading.
Second reading, I'm sorry.
Second reading, please.
Second reading, Bill Number 5738 by title only, an ordinance providing for a boundary adjustment between the cities of Brentwood and Rock Hill.
Okay,
I'd like
motion
to make the motion for approval.
and second.
Second, Your Honor.
Motion is made by Alderman Robertson, second by Alderman Leahy. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy. Alderman Toohey.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bill number 5738 is now ordinance number 4413.
First reading of Bill number 5738 5739.
First reading bill number 5739 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute an agreement between the city of Brentwood, Missouri and Gateway Fireworks. Your Honor, I think we may need an amendment.
Yes.
Do you just want to state that, say it correctly, and then we'll make the amendment?
Fireworks display for the 2013 Brentwood Days fireworks display at Brentwood Park and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. If I can, a motion to change the title of the ordinance to 2013.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. If you wouldn't mind amending, it's actually more than just in the title.
I'm looking this,
Yes.
so I was just looking
There,
at it now.
it is,
Just wherever it
To
appears.
amend the ordinance to state wherever the date is printed that is 2000, correctly printed as 2013.
13.
And Madden Fest celebration
Right.
instead of Brentwood Days.
Instead of Brentwood Days, yes.
Okay.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Well, no, Tom made the motion,
Oh.
and then you said, no, it's fine, it was just kind of,
Yeah.
it was fun.
No problem.
Aye, I forgot.
Whatever works.
All right.
Stepped on.
All right, so it's been amended to restate the date to 2013 throughout the ordinance.
Yes.
Second reading? Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. The Gateway Fireworks Display is the topic of Bill number 5739, authorizing an ordinance that would authorize the mayor of our city to execute an agreement with Gateway Fireworks Displays Incorporated, that for the 2013 Madden Fest celebration fireworks display at Brentwood Park. Fiscal year 2013 budget is $14,000 for the expense. Public Works Committee has reviewed and recommended this approval.
Thank you. Second reading, please.
Second reading bill number 5739 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute an agreement between the city of Brentwood, Missouri and Gateway Fireworks Displays, Inc. for the 2013 Madden Fest Days fireworks display at Brentwood Park and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Motion to perfect Bill 5739 into ordinance form.
As amended.
As amended. Thank you,
Second.
sir.
Second, Your Honor.
Motion is made by Alderman Lay, second by Alderman Kramer. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Bill number 5739 is now ordinance number 4414.
First reading, bill number 5740, please.
First reading bill number 5740 by title only, an ordinance of the city of Brentwood, Missouri, amending ordinance number 4409 to authorize the mayor to execute the attached 2013 Community Development Block Grant Municipal Housing and Community Development Supplemental Cooperation Agreement.
Synopsis, please.
Say that like
Oh,
this.
yes, Your Honor. Bill 5740, the Community Development Block Grant topic, is on the table now. This bill is for an ordinance authorizing the city of Brentwood, Missouri, and the mayor to amend ordinance number 4409 to execute the attached 2013 Community Development Block Grant Municipal Housing and Community Development Supplemental Cooperational Agreement. At the March 4th Board of Aldermen meeting, ordinance 4409 authorized the city administrator to execute the CDBG agreement that was adopted. After speaking with grant representatives, staff was informed the authorizing representative should be the chief elected official, which is our mayor.
Okay. Second reading, please.
Second reading bill number 5740 by title only, an ordinance of the city of Brentwood, Missouri, amending ordinance number 4409 to authorize the mayor to execute the attached 2013 Community Development Block Grant Municipal Housing and Community Development Supplemental Cooperation Agreement.
Okay, any questions? Alderman Saunders?
Just for information purposes, we approved this last month, and I made a motion, and it was approved by the board, that the fees, the permit fees that the city of Brentwood charges will be waived for the residents that qualify for these grants in connection with their project that they're doing for the grant, since this is federal funds and it's for people that are in need. I don't need to remember.
No, that's separate from the ordinance.
That's
from
already
the
in
grant.
because you put it in on the original approval.
Okay.
Well, it really, that's a separate policy within the city. It really doesn't have anything to do with this, with the grant.
That's
Right.
correct.
Right. Okay. Second reading, please? Or did we have second?
We had the
We had
second.
Okay.
second.
We have a motion, please?
Motion to perfect Bill 5740 into ordinance form, Your Honor.
And second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion is made by Alderman Leahy, second by Alderwoman Manister. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Bill number 5740 is now ordinance number 4415.
Thank you. First reading of Bill number 5741, please.
First reading Bill number 5741 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement between the City of Brentwood, Missouri and Ranieri Construction LLC for pedestrian transit improvements and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Alderwoman Saunders?
It just, for the last ordinance that we did, does that remain 4409? Because we said that we were amending that ordinance.
Yeah.
So instead of being 4415, would it be 4409 still?
4409 is still in effect. It's just been amended by this ordinance.
Okay. But didn't Octavia just say this would be, 5740 would be 4415?
Yeah, but
Oh,
this
15 is the
ordinance amends-
amendment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Synopsis?
Yes, Your Honor. Bill 5741 is the topic of the Hanley Industrial Court Pedestrian Transit Improvement Project. This is more good news for that area as we move further down the timeline. The bill is for an ordinance authorizing the mayor of our city and/or the city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement between the City of Brentwood and Ranieri Construction LLC for the pedestrian transit improvements. A new pedestrian walkway will be built from Memorial Park to the promenade and ending at the Metrolink station entrance next to Deerberg's. Currently, as many people know, there are no sidewalks in this area, and pedestrians have to walk in the street. Construction is scheduled to start this spring. Total project cost would be $830,000, federal funds covering 80% of which is $664,000. Local match is $166,000. The Public Works Committee recommends the selection of Ranieri Construction LLC and approval of this bill.
Thank you. Second reading, please.
Second reading Bill number 5741 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement between the City of Brentwood, Missouri and Ranieri Construction LLC for pedestrian transit improvements and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
A motion, please.
I move for adoption.
Second? Second. Motion was made by Alderman Robertson, second by Alderman Nguyen. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Absolutely.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Bill number 5741 is now ordinance number 4416.
Thank you. First reading of Bill number 5742, please.
Your Honor, can I suggest that we amend that bill to change Brentwood
Yes.
Days to Maddenfest?
A motion to change Bill number 5742 from the current reading of Brentwood Days to Madden Fest. Motion?
So moved.
And second?
Second, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Now, that will be in all places within the
Yes.
bill.
Yeah, I think it's only in the heading.
No, it's actually in a
Is it?
couple
Okay.
places, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Wherever it is.
First reading, please.
First reading, Bill number 5742 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute a contract with American Banner Amusements, Inc. for the provision of rides in other cities for Madden Fest in 2013 and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Bill 5742 with American Banner Amusements. This is a bill for an ordinance that would authorize the mayor of our city to execute a contract with American Banner Amusements Company for carnival rides, that during the Madden Fest Festival for 2013. Fiscal year 2013 budget is $25,700 for this expense. Public Works Committee has recommended its approval after the review.
Thank you. Second. Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Kramer.
Your Honor, I'm actually reminded if we could direct or ask staff kindly. I had more than one complaint from a constituent about one particular part of the American Banner Amusements display last year. There's a dart throw, I believe, with balloons and darts where the children can win posters. Some of the posters were of scantily clad or otherwise objectionable material. And the request was made, if at all possible, that we could have more wholesome prizes
I think so.
Yeah.
for the kids.
Yeah, I think we can check that. I think it's just something we need to keep in mind before the carnival starts. One year we had a problem. They were one of the prizes were potato guns. That wasn't a good idea either. One time they had some toy switchblades. We asked them to stop doing it. So, yeah, I think we should probably look at their booths before they start and make sure we don't want to restrict some of those. But that's just something we need to do as a rule.
Sure.
But if you could also tell them ahead of the,
Will do.
save them the.
Keep the funnel cake, though.
Different company. Local company. That one's okay. All right. Second reading, please.
Second reading, bill number 5742 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute a contract with American Banner Amusements, Inc. for the provision of rides and other services for Madden Fest in 2013 and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay.
Motion to approve Bill 5742 as amended into ordinance form.
Second.
Second, Your Honor.
Motion is made by Alderman Lay, second by Alderman Kramer. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Toohey.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Bill number 5742 is now ordinance number 4417.
First reading of bill number 5743, please.
First reading, bill number 5743 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute an agreement between the city of Brentwood and the Brentwood School District for school crossing guards and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Synopsis, please. No.
Go ahead. You let me.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. The last of our bills this evening is Bill 5743 about our school crossing guard topic. It's a bill for an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or the city administrator to execute an agreement between the city of Brentwood and the Brentwood School District for a school crossing guard. Guard will be stationed at the intersection of White Avenue and Brentwood Boulevard on school days from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. This agreement shall run effectively immediately upon execution of the district and the city and shall remain in effect through the last school day of the 2015-2016 school year, which is estimated to be in May of 2016. The parties may extend this agreement for an additional 2 years by mutual agreement. This agreement is subject to an appropriation by the Board of Aldermen. The part-time position will earn $10 an hour. There are no benefits. The Public Works Committee and the Ways and Means Committee both have recommended the item to be forwarded to the Board of Aldermen for its consideration.
Yeah, Mayor.
Alderman Nguyen.
Well, I think this is one of the things that went through the city in a really great way. We've got the parents came in very nicely, brought their complaint to the safety committee. We went up and watched what happened. We went to the school board, to a superintendent, got his approval. It came back. It's back now in a very short amount of time. I'm just pleased that we can see something like this happen and happen so well between the school and the city.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Alderman Saunders.
I'd like to agree with that sentiment, and I want to remind the residents, though, the really important thing about that was I received a couple emails from Lou Ingersoll was one, and there was another resident that asked, how can we get this going? What do we do? And I said, you know, I'll forward it on to BOLA and see if we can get it on the public safety agenda, and that's how it proceeded, and we were able to work together. But again, the residents really do make a big difference, and we can't think of everything, so your ideas in that, we really appreciate them when you come forward with them, and we try to listen and act upon them. So thank you.
I wanted to say one other thing, too, that I think I said it once before, but I went one day and watched all the kids cross. I was really amazed at the way the kids did it. They were so good in each other, and they were so polite, and they followed. I mean, I'm waiting for teenagers, you know, maybe woo, you know. They all did it very well. The parents could be very proud of the kids that were walking to school.
Good. Okay. Second reading, please.
Second reading, bill number 5743 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute an agreement between the city of Brentwood and the Brentwood School District for school crossing guards and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Your motion, please.
So move.
And second.
Second.
Motion is made by Alderman Nguyen, second by Alderman Harper to perfect Bill number 5743 into ordinance form. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Bill number 5743 is now ordinance number 4418.
Thank you. Next item, item 10, accounts against the city.
Yes, Your Honor, all of the aldermen should have before them the most updated warrant list and has been reviewed as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. I recommend its approval in the amount of $31,133.31.
Do you have a second?
Second, Your Honor.
Any questions? All in favor of approving the warrant list as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Alderman Lady, did you have a question? Nope. Oh, okay.
Pay the bills.
All right, next item, reports of committee and department head. Under the mayor's report, I do not have anything this evening. Public Safety Committee,
No report.
Public Works Committee,
No report, Your Honor, other than to ask people who are solicited for their opinions to provide those on the survey.
great. Director of Planning, have we been in contact with Ellen? When is she expected?
She is coming in Friday morning
Oh,
so
good.
that we have a chance to meet baby Jane.
Good.
Baby who?
Jane.
Jane. Great. Maybe she can come with coffee with the mayor.
What, you want to kiss a baby, do you, Mayor?
No, I was going to let her run the meeting. Ways and Means Committee, anything further?
Your Honor, we have our next meeting scheduled for the 20th at 6:30 here in the chambers.
Okay. City Attorney,
No report, Your Honor.
City Clerk,
No report, Your Honor.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yes, I have questions. Can I ask, in our report, the next door, first of all, could you explain to the audience a little bit about next door, and why was the flyer just distributed to the school district?
Perhaps the chief would also like to join me if he's here. This is an ongoing conversation that the Public Safety Committee has had regarding how do we better communicate with the community, residential and commercial, about different things going on in our community. And this is the first attempt to achieve that communication with the greater community. We felt that if we start at the school level and send these flyers home with the kids, then they will talk to their parents, and then the parents will come to the meeting. Typically, when things happen in our community, they're the ones that want to know what's going on, and then we'll branch out into the commercial sectors.
Okay.
So
Did
that
we
decision was made by the police
I know this was
department.
coming. Was the emphasis going to be, though, like kind of the crime watch? I mean, was this, because people had mentioned the signs that we had, the neighborhood signs, the neighborhood watch signs.
This
Is
is a
that
variation
incorporating
of
this? It's a variation of that?
Of the black,
Yeah.
what was that used to be
Right.
called? Black what?
Black House.
Black, yeah.
Well, there were the
Neighborhood watch.
signs, I know someone
Yeah, they
had
call 'em-
mentioned
they call 'em
on
Black
what.
homes, right.
Yeah.
Black
Okay,
homes.
on block homes, a
Variation.
variation of that. But this will, and that's what we're trying to incorporate that?
Yes.
Within this particular program? Okay, and then also, could you please tell a little bit about the status of the Boys Hope, Girls Hope?
I know that there's a meeting tonight at St. Mary's Magdalene.
Well,
Boys Hope-
I'll actually touch on that if you don't
City-
mind.
oh, sure.
Yeah. Since we had direct contact with him. Probably right prior to the first of the year, in mid-December, I was approached by representatives from Boys Hope and Girls Hope that they were looking at a lot, which is actually the lot right behind Pasta House, Dan Doherty's old house where he used to live. And their plan was hopefully, if it would fit, that they would build 2 new buildings, one for boys, one for girls, as well as an administration building to move their headquarters here in the city of Brentwood. Is my understanding when I met with them that they had already met with the alderman from Ward 3 and had introduced themselves and told them about what their program was about. They wanted to know what would be the processes going forward within the city to find out about zoning and land use and all those kinds of things. I know they had a couple of conversations with Ellen with respect to zoning. They were doing their due diligence on evaluating whether it was feasible to purchase that property and so forth. In our last conversation, which was a month or so ago, they suggested that they wanted to reach out to the neighbors in the community to tell them, what they were about, what they're proposing. I know in the meantime they had met with representatives, or at least a pastor of St. Mary Magdalene Church. It's my understanding they also met with the superintendent of the school district, and they were trying to reach out to their neighbors to tell them exactly what the organization is about and what they do. So a week or two ago, they sent out postcards to, I don't know how many, I heard 90.
90.
But, right.
Yeah,
And
2
then
blocks.
also went around and put flyers on people's doors that they were having this meeting tonight to introduce themselves to the community. That was their initiative, their effort to try to really, they want the support of the communities that they're within. It's my understanding, I think they have 4 houses right now in the St. Louis area. This organization started in St. Louis, I think 50-something years ago. Now it's a national organization, and this is obviously the St. Louis chapter. What they do is they take kids, bring them into the home, not necessarily, they bring kids into the home and raise them there. They have adult professionals that live in the homes with these children. They don't have more than 10 kids in the house, boys or girls in separate houses, but they don't have more than 10. Then they provide education and guidance for these children. A majority of them actually go to private schools. They fund that through their donations and the efforts that they make. They have very high standards for their the kids being that attend there and have these scholarships, that they have to maintain their grades and those kinds of things so that they become productive citizens. I can tell you, before I knew what they were about and met with them, I think you have apprehension, but once you hear what they do and see what they've done with the kids that have been participants and have come out of their program, it's a great program. And so, again, I think there are some misconceptions printed by our blog newspaper that's on the internet, really misstating what the organization is all about. And I think to their credit, I think they were trying to reach out to the community and really let people know what they're about, and that they want them to be part of their organization as well, so that these kids can live in a good environment and become productive citizens. So they have not even presented any proposal to the city as of yet. I think their goal is to purchase that property, submit their plans to the city for planning for planning and zoning for their site plan approval, just like any business or organization would have to do, and then go through that process. So really, that's where it stands. And again, I want to reiterate, I think it was shows the character of the organization by trying to reach out and meet with the people to let them know what they're about as they go forward. And I think if people have an open mind, they'll find out it's a good organization and would be an asset to the city of Brentwood. Yeah.
Yes, I would have loved to attend tonight's informational meeting, because I would like to learn about it. I didn't know anything about Boys Hope, Girls Hope until it hit the patch, and then I got emails from some of the residents. I'd just like to ask, in the future, since they met with 2 aldermen and the mayor, and they contacted the city to get addresses and stuff, is it possible that this could be in the
They didn't contact me.
Okay.
Right.
Well, you knew the 90, that
That's
they had
after
90.
That's what they told
got
us.
the email
Okay.
from you and started calling them.
Okay. But can I ask just that this would be like in the city administrator report as a heads up, because this isn't like an ARB thing where it's just going to impact the neighbors. I mean, this is going to involve possibly rezoning,
you're treading on because when they reach out and talk to the alderman of that ward, I would say that this has been the normal process. If they wanted, first of all, they don't want to go public with what they're doing yet, because they're at that point, one of the pieces of property they didn't even have a contract on yet.
Yep.
And they had not approached the city. They had only approached the elected officials at that point. I put them in touch with city staff when they needed zoning questions asked. But really, it's very difficult sometimes when businesses, organizations, unless they tell me that they want this to be public information, I'm not going to tell anybody about it until like, again, they needed some zoning questions asked. And if they wanted to reach out to the entire board, then they had the option to do that. I'm not trying to, I just think that it's difficult sometimes, but, you know, this is the process, really. So, Alderman Mansell.
Well, I have a tendency to agree with Maureen, Alderman Saunders. I used to live on Anna Lee, and I had several neighbors that used to be my neighbors call me and tell me that they received a flyer, and of course I didn't know anything about what was going on. I had no clue, and so I went to the city administrator's report right away thinking this is maybe something planning and zoning is discussing, and it wasn't in there. So and then I got emails, and I understand that, you know, perhaps they didn't want to reach out to everyone, the entire board, but just to have just a little information that we've been approached, this is a discussion, they haven't yet applied, so just in case anyone, you know, knowing that they're going to have a meeting at St. Mary Magdalene and their residents are going to be possibly contacting other aldermen that don't have any knowledge. And I've looked into the organization since then because I didn't know anything about it, and I do think it's a great organization. I do hope people that are at the meeting tonight have an open mind and you know, and embrace this. So,
and to be quite honest, they'd be investing quite a bit into the property and what they're putting there. But again, when they even talked to me and about the fact that they were going to have this meeting, the last conversation I had to them, they were going to send out, you know, and contact the people right there on their block. They didn't say anything about doing a mailing to 90 residents or that they were going to be putting flyers all the way around on Anna Lee. So, you know, again, that was their initiative. It wasn't ours. And so we need to leave it. I mean, that's kind of where it was standing. I wasn't telling them to do it or not. And I didn't understand the extent of it even myself at that time. So, okay. All right.
Excise.
Okay. Excise Commissioner? Nothing. Library?
No.
Municipal League? Nothing at this point. Communications?
No report, Your Honor.
Historical Society?
Nothing.
No closed meeting. Any unfinished business?
Can I ask who owns the property, that commercial property there?
It was actually a residential property. It's zoned commercial, but it was Dan Doherty. He passed away
It's
3 or
in
4
an
years
estate right now.
Yeah,
and
it's
It's
in
been
his
in an
estate.
estate for almost 3 years.
Right.
And the property that's the residential home that they also want, that's just...
That's a rental
Doherty's
property.
also-
No, it's
That's
not.
just-
No.
Oh,
No,
you
it's
said-
not Howell either. I don't.
The one
they
up
told me
from
that.
him.
Yeah, it's. If you said the name, I might recognize it, but it's a rental property.
It's a rental property. but we
It
don't-
wasn't Howell's or
Okay.
Dan. So.
Pat?
Yes.
Just one thing. Did we ever come to a conclusion on food trucks? I know it's about to
There's
become...
still a
It's still a-
moratorium on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Is
We
that
hope
is still
to take it up in the next month or so.
It's on your-
Maybe when Ellen comes back.
Okay.
okay? Any new business? Alderman Lady.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Ward 3 meeting for the month of March is Tuesday night, the 26th at 7 o'clock up here in the council room. Tuesday, the 2nd of April, is the April elections. The school board has an issue on the ballot. I do not believe that there's anything else that the citizens of Brentwood will be voting on, but it is a great opportunity. Come out and vote. And then, as mentioned earlier, the city of Brentwood is having a phone survey on trying to gather some information from the residents so that we can have a little bit more information, better handle on how the board should react on the rec center. So if you are contacted, please take the time to go through the full survey to work with. And then the police department has the Next Door program. That is a Thursday night meeting on the 21st at 7 p.m. at the police department. And that is open to the residents. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
One other issue, if
yes.
I can go outside. I believe in the month of April, we have a renewal of the red light camera.
That is correct.
May I ask that that renewal go to public safety or the committees for
It is on that
discussion?
agenda.
It is.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Item 14, hear of any matters upon public interest. If anybody would like to address the board, please come forward and give us your name and address.
Question. I'm curious as to where we are on that audit. Any closer? Have we heard anything about an estimated time that we expect responses yet?
No,
We haven't heard anything from state.
Do we know
I
why it's
did.
taking so long?
They just finished the Rockwood School audit.
Oh.
I did, Denise, I spoke with someone there, and they did say that if you have any questions, you can contact Spence Jackson with the Missouri auditors, and they'll kind of tell you the process, but they're finalizing the report, is what she said, and she said to contact Spence Jackson.
Jackson.
Is
Okay,
that
thank
right?
you. Thank you.
Is it Spencer or Spence Jackson?
I don't know
She
who that
said to
is.
send them, that we're supposed to just send you there.
Susan Ryan, 9324 Pine Avenue. Do we know the date when those calls are going to be made for the survey?
April 1st, starting April 1st. Right now, it's scheduled to go through April 15th. If he needs more days, he'll let us know, and we'll put out that information.
Okay, okay. I won't answer a particular phone. I won't answer it if I don't answer my home phone.
So that's why.
Hey, you can call me on my cell phone.
Just cell phone numbers and landline numbers will be both sorted through for the random calls.
Okay, good.
So you could get a cell phone call.
Okay, good. Good to know. Okay. In the same vein as I was listening to you talking about all of the employee handbook, I'm talking about conduct complaints and how one would go about doing that, but it appears to be only for employees, not necessarily citizens. So I've been doing some research, and I want to try and develop some outline, something similar guidelines to be posted on our website that would give a citizen a guideline to know who to contact, how to submit a complaint, and what steps they would need to follow to have a concern addressed. I think that really needs to be defined. I think there needs to be a communication put out there that just helps people, so that when they have something, they would have a hotline they could call. They wouldn't have to go through what I went through for a year. I also been looking at some other things. Found a great document. It says the appearance of fairness document. I think I'm going to read through it. It says it's Municipal Research and Survey, our service center. I particularly have concerns with how the conduct of particular individuals, and certainly not an appearance of fairness. So I'm going to read through this and see what we can glean out of this. It may help our citizens and help our some of our commissions understand an appearance of fairness is a very big deal. Very big deal. And I don't think that one should walk away from a process and feel as if they, I can't even use the language. But anyway, I did want you to know that I was going to do some research, try to come up with some doctrine that would help us move forward. And thank you.
Thanks.
Right.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And second? All in
Second,
favor, say
Your
aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.